The gymnasium of Celestial Academy hummed with the soft blue glow of energy shields as students filed in for their mandatory combat training. Dani Martinez walked among them, her worn duffel bag slung over one shoulder, drawing curious glances from her alien classmates. She was one of only 3 humans enrolled in the prestigious military academy, located on the orbital station circling Kepler 442b. Another human, chittered Vexlar, a chitinous whose exoskeleton gleamed like polished obsidian. I wonder if this one will last longer than the others. Instructor Kael'thor, a towering Zentari with 4 arms and silver skin, activated the training floor. Holographic boundaries materialized, dividing the space into dueling circles. Today, his voice resonated through the chamber. You will demonstrate basic proficiency with standard plasma sabers. These training weapons are calibrated to deliver stunning charges only. Lethal settings are, of course, disabled. The equipment lockers hissed open, revealing rows of sleek, identical training sabers, each one a masterpiece of modern engineering, capable of adjusting weight, balance, and energy output to suit any species' physiology. Dani didn't move toward the lockers. Instead, she unzipped her duffel bag and withdrew something that made the entire class fall silent. It was a sword, not the elegant humming energy blade they expected, but a length of folded steel that caught the artificial light with a dull, hungry gleam. The longsword was nearly 4 feet long, its crossguard simple and functional, its leather-wrapped handle darkened by years of use. Cadet Martinez. Instructor Kael'thor's 4 eyes narrowed. That is not standard equipment. No, sir, Dani replied, her voice steady. It's my uncle's. He carried it through the Terran border conflicts. I requested permission to use personal equipment, as per Academy Regulation 7-3. That regulation refers to customized modern weaponry, the instructor said, his tone suggesting he was dealing with an amusing but ultimately foolish child, not museum pieces. A ripple of laughter spread through the assembled students. The Zentari were known for their mastery of energy weapons. The chitinous had evolved natural blade-like appendages that could pierce titanium. The Velaran could manipulate gravitational fields to crush opponents. Humans, by galactic standards, were considered adequate, competent enough with standard equipment but possessing no particular specialization that gave them an edge. The regulation doesn't specify technology level, sir, Dani said quietly, only that the weapon must be non-lethal in training scenarios and personally maintained. Noah Chen, one of the other human students, caught her eye from across the room and gave her a subtle nod. He knew her uncle, everyone from the Terran. Military knew of Commander James Martinez, the man who'd held the line at Proxima Station with nothing but a boarding party and outdated equipment while reinforcements arrived. Kael'thor's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. Very well, cadet. You may use your relic. I trust this will be an educational experience. He gestured to the dueling circles. Pair up. Standard elimination rules. First to 3 touches advances. Dani was matched against Vexlar. The chitinous moved into the circle with fluid confidence, her training saber humming to life with a sound like distant thunder. The weapon adjusted automatically to her grip, perfectly balanced for her physiology. Nothing personal, human, Vexlar said, dropping into a fighting stance taught across 100 worlds. But you've brought a primitive tool to a modern fight. Dani said nothing. She simply gripped her uncle's longsword with both hands, the weight familiar and comforting, and settled into a guard position that would have been recognized by swordsmen dead for 1,000 years. The starting chime sounded. Vexlar struck like lightning, her training saber a blue blur aimed at Dani's chest. It was a perfect strike, precisely calibrated, exactly the kind of attack that should overwhelm a slower opponent. The longsword moved. Steel met energy with a sound like a bell tolling. Dani hadn't blocked, she'd deflected, turning Vexlar's blade aside with minimal movement while pivoting her hips. The chitinous stumbled slightly, surprised by the unexpected counter. Dani's riposte was equally economical. The flat of her blade tapped Vexlar's shoulder. First touch. What? Vexlar didn't finish the sentence. She attacked again, faster this time, A high-low combination designed to overwhelm Danny's defenses. But Danny wasn't defending. She was already moving, her footwork precise, cutting angles and closing distance in ways that made the energy weapon's reach advantage irrelevant. The longsword became a blur of controlled steel, not wild swinging, but measured strikes that flowed from one to the next like water, finding cracks in stone. Second touch. Third touch. Vexlar stepped back, her training saber drooping. Around the gymnasium, conversations had stopped. Every eye was on the human girl with the ancient sword. How? Vexlar asked, genuine confusion in her voice. Your weapon is slower, heavier. It requires more energy to wield. By every logical metric, I should have won. Danny lowered her uncle's sword, breathing hard, but controlled. Your training saber is perfect, she said. It adjusts to every situation, compensates for every weakness, optimizes for every exchange. You've learned to trust it to do the work for you. She held up the longsword, letting the light play across its scarred surface. This sword doesn't do anything I don't make it do. Every strike requires commitment. Every defense requires precision. Every movement matters because the steel doesn't lie. It doesn't adjust. It doesn't compensate. It just reveals whether I'm good enough. Instructor Kael'thor moved closer, his four eyes studying the weapon with new interest. You're saying the limitation is the advantage? I'm saying the struggle is the teacher, Danny replied. My uncle told me that humanity spent thousands of years killing each other with swords, spears, and axes. We got very, very good at it because we had to be. When you fight with steel, you learn to read your opponent's body, their balance, their intention. You learn to move with purpose because wasted movement gets you killed. She looked around at her classmates, species from across the galaxy, each one technologically superior to humanity in a dozen ways. Your energy weapons are better than my sword, but you've only been training with them for a few generations. Humans have been training with blades for millennia. We know them the way you know your natural weapons. Noah stepped forward, grinning. Don't let her modesty fool you, instructor. Humans don't just train with obsolete weapons for tradition. We train with them because they teach us to be better with modern ones. Danny's probably as good with a plasma rifle as she is with that longsword, but the longsword made her that way. The gymnasium was silent for a long moment. Then Instructor Kael'thor's mandibles clicked again, but this time the sound was different. Respectful. I believe, he said slowly, that I may need to reconsider some of my assumptions about human combat doctrine. Cadet Martinez, would your uncle's teaching methods be something you could share with the class? Danny smiled, the same smile her uncle wore when he knew he'd made his point. Steel doesn't care about species, instructor. It only cares about skill. I'd be happy to teach anyone willing to learn. As the class resumed, Danny caught Noah's eye again. He was laughing silently, shaking his head. They both knew what the other alien students would learn soon enough. Humanity hadn't conquered the stars through superior technology or natural advantages. They'd done it the same way they'd done everything else, through stubborn refusal to let their limitations define them, and the hard-won knowledge that the best tools were the ones that made you better, not the ones that did the work for you. The longsword went back into its bag, but its lesson remained, gleaming like folded steel in the minds of everyone who'd witnessed Danny's duels that day. Human limitations, they were learning, had a way of becoming human advantages. That was the thing about humanity that the galaxy was still discovering. They'd been fighting with inadequate tools for so long that they'd forgotten what adequate even meant.